and sort itself out. But it's very easy to have 2 meals a day. You have plenty of nutrition coming in, and then you have plenty of downtime on a regular basis. I think that's quite a nice middle ground way. And if that suits you, great. If you go into more fasting, great. But just if your body starts shaking and trembling, or you feel anxious, or you feel lost or confused, that's your body saying, well, wait a minute, whoa, just cool it. Please trust your own early warning signals. Racing thoughts, feeling anxious, look at your feelings and how your body is reacting. And it's so helpful to ask yourself very basic questions like, does your body just want to rest? Does it want to retreat and just do nothing? Does it want hands-on help? Does it want to get out and stamp or run, and get your body's needs met and your emotional needs met too. Most people with tinnitus are, I find, not brilliant at self-soothing, and they've gone over the limit. And once you come back within your limits and you really learn how to settle yourself down, to really listen to your needs, you're going to be in so much of a better place.
I spoke to someone recently, and my advice is get to a better place, relationship with your tinnitus first, in a calmer state of mind, and then look towards fasting and diet and things like that. But first of all, I think you do need to be in a calmer, better relationship with your tinnitus.
Yeah.
If you're in hyper states of stress, anxiety, and you've first been struck with it, like I remember when I was, I don't think that would be the time to go ahead with that. I think you need to settle and find your better relationship with your tinnitus first.
And the thing that people need to know is that tinnitus is temporary, and that it can come right down, and it can fall away. And I just constantly want to reassure people with this. I know this because every day people come in and say, oh, I had a week of silence and it came back a tiny bit at the weekend. I've helped a lot of people get on track and come back to a really good recovery. And the most important piece of information is that this is possible. I'm not talking about climbing Everest. This isn't a miracle. It's just living your life responsibly, within your limits, getting a good support network, having good releases, calming, settling, soothing, not over-focusing on your ears, but letting your ears potter along in the background. That's why I think aiming for well-being in the body is a really good strategy, because this is a tangible thing we can develop and build, and it helps everything to settle.
I want to ask about, I've tried one of these things, sound generators, and these auditory devices, and also this new buzzword, the neuromodulation devices that are out there. Now, I believe in this theory of neuroplasticity with the mind. The mind can, the way I look at a lot with my own tinnitus is it was getting through the methods we've spoken about, whether it be Tai Chi, diet, all these things, particularly with the hypnotherapy, was getting my mind to reprioritise the tone that I was hearing as not being a threat, and not like this fight or flight that we're going to, basically reprioritising it. It's not important, you're not under attack or anything, and in that way it put it to the back of my mind. And I, like you say, want to put it across to people, and I try to, that it is possible, because I've done it, as yourself, to remove the tinnitus from your conscious thought. I had 3 entire days when I went on holiday, and it literally was, I was pre-tinnitus. It was like it wasn't there. Now usually, I've had these periods of time before where I wasn't hearing it. First of all, it was like moments, then hours, then I had a day, and then I had 3 entire days. And recently I had an entire afternoon where it was like it wasn't there at all. Now usually, I've had these periods of times before, and if I think about it, my mind seems to seek it out and find it. But on these particular times, it was like it wasn't there, so my mind had removed it from my conscious thought. So, as you say, it is possible, it is absolutely possible, and this is what I try and say to people, that we can remove this sound from our minds. But I tried these sound generators that I was given by an ENT, and it was basically like the sound of she went through different sounds that they could play through this thing. But I just found that it was really, and I know there's different approaches with these, but I found it was just like covering the noise with another noise. Mm-hmm. And she kind of said, you habituate to this rather than the tone that you're hearing. Mm-hmm. What's your view on the sound generators and these audio devices like neuromodulation? So
I think they can be really helpful. I think especially at the beginning when people can be in a state of terror, to have something incredibly tangible and monitorable, if that's a word, and to have the support of a therapist helping you, retraining the mind to hear a changeable input, I think is very, very comforting for people, and you can match the sound with another sound and gradually taper it down. I've heard people benefiting a lot from this, and you know, I think it's great that there's, for certain kinds of people, I think this is a really brilliant way of working. You know, you've mentioned it's a bit zen. It can be a bit scary to take responsibility for our health and to just sit on a cushion and be with ourselves. So I think a lot of people find it a bit intimidating. And so going to see somebody and having a very changeable input can be very useful. You've got the sounds and you've got the mind locking in on it. Anything that distracts the mind away is helpful, and anything that brings the actual irritability or nervousness down is helpful. So at the beginning I think these are great, but I think as you get better, I think moving quite quickly into self-care, soothing, settling, that causes the irritability to plummet. You know, some body-based therapists are brilliant at getting you to switch off and relax, and when your nervous system plummets into stillness or deep state of calm, the irritability, tinnitus included, can just fall away, and that's so good to know. Oh, it's gone quiet. Oh, gosh, you're right, it can go quiet. It's really lovely when that happens. And your mind, if you've got a meticulous perfectionist mind, a lot of tinnitus people do, it's really great to be able to train that onto something else. So, you know, having tinnitus replacement therapy or something else to focus on is useful at many, many different levels. If you want to get to a really good recovery and get back to stillness and silence, my gut instinct is finding peace or finding well-being in the body and being very grounded and physically in touch is a long-term resource that really helps tinnitus back off. I think that's a really deep, useful, long-lasting way out of tinnitus. Literally this way, out of the head into the body.
When I was first struck, I did find, because when I was first struck with it, before I met you, I was using the sound of raindrops on the window, anything to kind of cancel out this noise. I was using it at night in the evening when I wanted to go to sleep. But as I started to use the methods we've spoken about, I found I didn't need to use that anymore. And now I don't have to at all. I can just go to sleep. And that's, as we've said, due to the calming of the nervous system and the mind. So, so what I believe tinnitus is curable, as you say, or I know you like the term letting go, whatever term you want to use. and the reason I believe this is because where I am now, where I was. So what I'd like to end with, Julian, is what I'd like to ask you is, in a way of reassurance to people who maybe aren't in such a good place at the moment with their tinnitus and are suffering, what I'd like to ask you is, as a way of reassurance to those people, just to say that we don't have to live with this for the rest of our lives. There are ways and methods that can bring it down. I can testify to this. But what do you think are the main factors in how we get on our own path to recovery?
I think understanding how it works, learning from people who've got better, staying away from negative messages, that's very helpful. Please distance yourself from negativity on the internet. Once you understand it, it should be common sense. And definitely the crucial thing is finding safety in relationship with a therapist. I think it boils down to that. All the things we talked about in this interview are helpful. Learn to use your healthometer to guide you back to well-being and health. Your symptoms giving you feedback for a reason. Once your understanding increases and you really pay attention to what works for you, the prognosis becomes good. Once you're working with your symptoms and you've got your support network, you're looking after your lifestyle, you're doing the right kind of activities and practices to settle, then it's just a matter of time. And that's very encouraging. When your symptoms start quietening down, that says it all.
The way I look at it now, and we've used this term, I know, use it as a stress-o-meter to a degree. If my tinnitus goes up, it's kind of my mind saying to me, you're doing something wrong, you need to stop, go back to what you were doing before.
Yeah, exactly.
And it comes back down again.
Yeah.
I'd just like to say, to end this video, I can say that from where I was to where I am now, I don't hear my tinnitus during the day, and it's just a lovely, lovely place to be. And I just want to thank you for all your help in finding my path to recovery, and just thank you for this interview. And
Brilliant.
thank you very much.
So pleased. That's great. That's brilliant.
Thank
I'm
you.
really happy for you.
Thank you. Okay, goodbye everybody.
Bye.